All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get abs doing 3 things. Super simple. Everyone overcomplicates this. Everyone thinks this is way more complicated than it needs to be. Is it hard? Yes. Is it complicated? No. This is extremely simple. Humans, myself included, are insane, dude. We are psychos. We make everything way harder than it needs to be. So this is my attempt at making this way more simple so that it's easier for you to actually do, easier for you to actually win, okay? So copy this exactly. This is literally, this is what I do with my clients, right? This is oversimplified, of course. There's a lot of sprinkles that we will add in to optimize, but these are the big levers, 3 big levers that you need to do to get shredded, and it works, okay? And anyone can do this, okay? So let's go through this together here. Okay, step number 1 is going to be steps. Step number 1 is steps. Okay, so here's the recommendation, okay? Everyone's heard this a million times. I'm not going to rant on this too long. 10K per day is a great starting point. If you are hitting below 10K per day, I do not have science to support this. I just have my observational data of working with almost 500 clients by now, as well as watching and monitoring myself and my own results based on trying different strategies. 10K is a threshold that just seems to be right at that mark where if you're hitting below that, this is just way harder than it needs to be. So 10K is a great target to have. So if you're going to be if you're going to be under 10K, it's way harder. So I just wouldn't even do that. And if you're going to be, I would say 12 to 15K, you don't really need more than that. Although if you're a big runner or if you have a physical job, that's great. We'll take more. But, 12 to 15K per day is like on the money. I do 12K. I don't always hit 12K, but I'm quite consistent and probably consistent 90% of the time. And I am dialed in on steps when I go into a fat loss phase like this. So if I'm going to try to get shredded, it's a non-negotiable. I just have to hit it. Right now, I'm in a phase that's a little bit more focused on maintaining my body fat percentage. I'm not trying to get lower or leaner, and I want to grow some lean tissue. So I do have a little bit more margin for error there. So that's number 1, steps. You need to hit 10K per day minimum. If you can set 12, do 12. If you can do 15, do 15. I don't think you need to do more than 15. Will it help you? Yes. In many cases, more is not better. When it comes to steps, more is generally better. So if you can get more because of wherever your set point is, that's great. If you're already hitting 10K steps, bump it up to 12, but that tells me that you just need to make a big focus on your food, which we'll get to in a second. Okay, step number 2 is going to be nutrition. More specifically, we need to get into a calorie deficit. Most people understand this, right? Whoops, what's going on here? Most people understand. So you've probably heard this a million times. You're like, dude, we've heard it a million times. The calorie deficit, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's true. Sorry, I don't make the rules, but it is what it is. You need to get into a calorie deficit. Now, there's a million ways to do this. You could do carnivore diet. I just did a video on this recently. You could do whatever, South Beach diet. You could do any type of other weird low-carb diet, keto, South Beach. All of these actually achieve the same thing. They're very effective at weight loss, not necessarily good at weight maintenance or sustainability long term, but they are very good at weight loss because they put you into a calorie deficit. What I would prefer is what I use, which is called the MacroIntuitive Protocol. So this is what I use with my clients. This is really bad writing. I'm sorry. I use this with my clients, and I'm using this with myself. I've used this with myself for a while. How do you spell? There we go. And basically what it is you're going to eat macros, okay, or meal plan. What I would suggest is, honestly, just do a meal plan because it just makes it way easier. If you're a little bit more advanced, you could go right into macros. That's fine. But nice thing about meal plan is it's already laid out super clear. And to be honest, if you're going to do macros anyway, I would just create a meal plan for yourself regardless. But you know that you can kind of fall back on macros if there's a little bit of flexibility in there. But really the move there is to have 3 to 4 meals that you eat every single day. Now, this just sounds like any other diet, right? But what makes it the MacroIntuitive Protocol is you have macros and meal plan. But then what you're going to do is you're going to pair it with 2, oh my goodness, running out of room here. You're going to do 2 free meals a week, okay? So what you do is you sub out 2 of your meals on your meal plan, and you go out to dinner with your spouse, you go out to dinner with friends, holidays, social stuff, family things, take out, order in, whatever. Something that you do not put on the food scale, you don't weigh it, you don't measure it, you don't track it, nothing, okay? All intuitive, all mental, okay? We want to develop those habit based skills, and that's what's going to help long term. And it also helps take a little bit of the pressure out. These are not cheat meals, which I know that's how people will use cheat meals. More of like a psychological optimized kind of strategy, right? And that works the same here too, but these are not cheat meals. These are part of the program. I do these with all my clients. Now, sometimes we have 3, sometimes we have 4, depending on someone's situation, right? Everyone's situation is going to be different, but generally giving this recommendation to you, you are going to have a meal plan / macro-based plan, something that is structured. You're going to weigh all of your food perfectly. Now, how do you have the right amounts? Separate video, separate thing. I'm not going to get into that right now because I want to keep this super simple. You can also comment below. I have other videos about this, and I'm happy to help you out. I'll set that up for you for free if you want to see, be like, how much should I eat to get into a calorie deficit? I'll show you how to do it. Regardless, you do need to set up your macros and meal plans to get you into a calorie deficit to lose weight, lose fat consistently each week. Now, that ends up being 90 to 92% of your meals. Perfect, okay? You're weighing every single thing to the gram, at least within 1 to 2 grams, dialed in, okay? That's as much margin room that we have for error there. Other than that, you do need to be damn near perfect, okay? Outside of that, we have 2 free meals, okay? So that's the combo that we want. Run this every single week. Repeat it over and over and over again. You have a regular breakfast, regular lunch, regular dinner, maybe 1 snack or like a 4th meal. Regardless, you've got to set that up right away, whatever that is, a 3 or 4 meal schedule, every single day without fail. Swapping out 2 per week for whatever you want, okay? When I say whatever you want, you could treat it like a cheat if you want. I don't recommend it. I highly recommend choosing foods that you digest well, foods you enjoy, not eating until you're full. You do that, it'll keep you on track consistently each week, okay? That's number 2. Pretty simple. Okay, so that's going to be both of those steps paired together should work symbiotically to get you into a calorie deficit without relying on one or the other more than one or the other, okay? So what I mean by that is the steps are going to work by increasing our caloric output consistently each day, which is why we need that regular step target. So we're just hitting it, hammering regularly. We're not inconsistent, super high ups and downs, okay? And then when we do that, it gives us room so that even though the nutrition is set up to put us in a calorie deficit, we don't need to rely on that as aggressively because we have the calorie output being consistently pushed high by the steps, okay? So both of those work together because think about it, from a calorie deficit perspective, we want this equation to kind of work in our favor to create that deficit, right? If we have energy balance here and we're eating just as much as it takes to maintain our body weight, nothing happens. If we want to lose weight, we need to decrease how much we eat, we need to increase how much we move. So you could do one or the other. Most people, that's the problem, is they'll usually just starve themselves and then have kind of a loose plan around working out and cardio and stuff like that. And then they end up having to rely on just kind of starving themselves. But if you're very strategic and data-driven with what I set up here, with the output side of the equation and the input side of the equation, like what we just went over with step 1 and 2, it's way simpler and way more effective, okay? So we create that differential, which is that deficit that I'm talking about, and then you don't have to guess. Every 7 to 14 days, you are losing body fat without guessing, without hoping, wishing, praying, okay? Very predictable. Now, here's step number 3. This one actually does not help with fat loss directly. Now, it kind of does because there's going to be some level of caloric output involved with this. But really the whole point of this is, okay, muscle preservation, okay? We'll just say that. Muscle preservation, not necessarily growth. You might get a little bit of growth. That's great. But what you want to focus on is muscle preservation. And how do we do that? We don't actually focus on growing the muscle because, again, we're in a calorie deficit, so we don't actually have the food optimized that is required to grow. So what we do is we focus on muscle strength, okay? And that means heavy weights, but also just means hard weights, like hard sets, like take yourself to failure or close to failure most of your sets. And really all you need to do, 3 times per week is fine. I would say up to 5 is great. 6 plus, I really don't think it's necessary. If you really enjoy the gym, then you need to set up your training program so that it's appropriate here because you're going to have to take out your total weekly training volume and workload in general and spread it out across 6 days. But 3 to 5 is like on the money. What I would recommend for most people is going to be a push-pull leg split here. So if you're doing 3 times per week, push-pull legs. If you're doing 4 times per week, you can do push-pull, and then you could do push-pull on one session, right? You could do kind of like a, or if actually you wanted to hit a little bit extra shoulders and chest, or hit a little bit extra upper back, then you can decide if you want to do an extra push or an extra pull day, right? So it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. But going off the template of a push pull legs, I think is the best way to do this. So this is basically it. Those are the 3 things. Okay, all you need to do is you need to walk 10K steps per day. 12 to 15 is better, okay, but 10K minimum. If you're not already doing that, get there as fast as possible, okay? If you are already at 10K, like I said, go to 12 to 15. Step number 2, you need to get into a calorie deficit. I don't care what type of diet you do. I think my way is the best way. Of course, I'm biased, okay? But I've seen it work so many times with so many people, and I'm seeing it work right now in real time. And I've seen it work with myself as well. So I'm not sure if you've seen my past videos, but I got super freaking shredded with it, dude. And I still use it on my reverse physique development phases in maintenance, which is where I'm at right now too. It's just a little bit more flexible, a little bit more dialed in when I'm actually dieting. But this is how I would set it up, is I would set up 3 to 4 meals that I eat every single day, exact appropriate portions, and I weigh out everything. I do not eyeball any of that. That is dialed the F in. And then I have 2 meals per week that I can decide which ones I want to take out, and I can put in takeout, restaurant meals, travel, holiday, family stuff, birthdays, whatever, and I can easily plan for that. Good example, what I do right now is on Wednesday, I'll go on date night with my wife midweek, so I have a midweek free meal, off-plan meal, and then I'll keep a slot on the weekend. So I can decide kind of when I want to use that, depending on social stuff that comes up, and if nothing comes up, I'll just use it Sunday night, right? So 1 midweek, 1 on the weekend, that works great for me. And then the third thing is going to be, well, I should say those 2 things, like I said before, those take care of the actual calorie deficit. That's actually really all you need to lose fat. The third one you don't really need, but you kind of do because we don't want to lose muscle, right? So that's where the training comes in. A lot of people think the training is going to help to burn fat. It doesn't, right? It kind of does long term because, okay, you're trying to build muscle, that increases basal metabolic rate, blah, 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 whatever. But really, in an acute sense, in a fat loss phase, what is the training there for? It is there to maintain and build strength. It is there to maintain and build maybe a little bit of muscle. That's literally it. And then you get a little bit of extra caloric output from that, but it's really not much, okay? Going to the gym is not that effective for burning fat. Those are the 3 things. That's all you need to do, and you can set up your plan like that. If you have any questions on this, or you want some help how to apply this to your own fat loss phase, if you're going into one, or if you're in a plateau and you're like, I think I could integrate this and get the ball rolling and actually start seeing some results, then comment below and I'm happy to help set you up, or you can DM me at I'm Tim Walcott on Instagram. I help everybody over there for free, no gatekeeping at all. I will help you with no strings attached. If you have a growth mindset and you want to win, I will help you.